Okay guys, welcome back. In this training video, we will be going over how to validate user entry. Whatever user enter in, is that something we want them to enter in, or is that something we would expect them to enter in? And we will be going through all that process on the front end side, meaning what we see on the screen, and then also on the back end side, meaning when someone enters that stuff in, like for example, user ID, we want to validate it within our database to see if that user ID exists or if it does not exist. In both cases, we'll display a message to our user, and we will be covering all that in this video. So without any further ado, let's get started, shall we? All right, first thing first, we are going to be looking at our folder structure. And in this folder, we have our 1, 2, 3, 4 files, and then our download folder, download file. The goal for the whole system is for someone to log in. Once they activate their account, then they will be able to access this file. So let me just show you how this works. So I go in here and then I put in my name, let's say code with Mark, and then I'll put 1 as my user ID, and then password would be whatever, and my email would be mark@gmail.com. And just an FYI, I have disabled the email part, meaning when after in a real life scenario, what this will do is it will go in there and send you an email and say, hey, click here to link it. To speed up the process, what I did was I just got that link and I can click on it, as you will see soon, and that way we can speed up the process of doing this. So let's try this. So for example, what I'm going to do is first to show you the error message. In this case, I'm going to type in the wrong email address format. So it's right now mark1@gmail is not the correct email format. It needs to have its domain ID, so to speak, .com, .org, or something like that. So if I hit enter, it's going to say, hey, this is not a valid email. So I'm going to just type in .com and then hit enter, and it's going to say, hey, email has been sent to you. Like I said before, I have left the email part out. So this is more likely the confirmation link that they're going to get. They click here. When they click on this link, it's going to take them to this page, which is the confirm page, to say, hey, your email has been confirmed. Now you can click to log in. So if I go back now and then click on log in, and then I'll just type in my email that I just signed up for it and the password. And then boom, I type that in, bada bang, bada boom. It says, hey, welcome code with Mark. And then here's the link you can download. Thank you for your purchase. So if I click on this link, it's gonna come up and say, hey, save it. So if I save this little bad boy up, just to show you, it is real life PDF. So if I open this up, even though this is just an example, but still, I like to make everything real life scenario, so to speak. So that's just me. Moving on, so this is a regular PDF, and then I will close this out, and then let's clear out the cookies, because what happens is it's a cookie, as you will learn soon about all that good stuff. And since we're already here, might as well show you. So for example, after I logged in, and I will see this page. However, if someone goes to this page directly, it's gonna say, hey, you haven't logged in. And it's gonna give me an error message. Or more likely, what I have done was I'm going to redirect them to our original page. So it does have some kind of security built in. So if I refresh the page now, it's gonna take them back to sign up page. So no one can directly access your download page. All right, so let's get started with the code. I'm sure that's what all your coders are looking for, is like, oh, show me the code, Mark, show me the code. How'd you build this awesome system? I want to build it too. All right, let's get started. So we are going to go open our index PHP file, and let's walk through it. And here, what I wanted to do was We already built this thing in our previous video. If you haven't watched it, please go watch it. Otherwise, you'll be kind of lost. But if you are following along with this series, you will know exactly what this is. So I'm not gonna go much in detail, but if you wanna watch the previous video on how do we come about building this thing, please go watch that. All right. So now I just want to share one more thing with you. I did add one thing in here. It's called sign up form class in each one of the field. Just to show you. So for example, in here I have a class of sign up form, and all four of these fields have sign up form class. And I did the same thing for login and password. And the reason being is because typically when you go to a sign up form or any other registration form, you're not always going to want to scroll all the way down and then click on the button. You want to be able to just type what you want to do and hit the enter key. That's what most normal people do. So if that's the functionality you want, that is the reason why I put the sign up class in here. So what this does is like, hey, being that all these fields have sign up for it, then I have a little code behind scenes saying, hey, if any one of those input fields, someone presses enter, go and do the validation process. That's the whole reason behind it, adding the sign up form. Like I said before, I have also added the login form class in each one of those fields under the login form. And then last but not least, I have added a forgot password form class. All right, so now that we got that out of the way, and at the very top, I added 3 JavaScript files, one for sign up, login, forgot password. All right, so let's go look at those files individually. So if I open this up and let's start with sign up. And at the top, I'm just including jQuery just to have everything built in it. And this is the code that I was just talking about, enter key. And I got this from the awesome function library, just to show you. If you guys go to it, where is it? Right here. So if you guys go to awesomefunction.com, and then let me just go to the home page, I guess. And then from here, you guys can use their CDN. It's hosted by the Cloudflare, blah, blah, blah. And then you can go under jQuery. And then if you scroll down on the down further, normally you are able to see the more of these fields, but because of the screen that I have and I'm trying to make it easy for you guys, it just won't go. But nonetheless, here is the enter key code. So you pretty much copy this and then paste it here. So it takes 2 parameters. One is the class or ID that you want to initiate it with. In this case, like I said before, I have did it with the sign up form. This is the class. And then after I have initiated, what do I want it to do? I want it to do a click function performance, so to speak. So after it initiates this class, and then it's going to say, hey, go to click. Well, in this case, the click is right here. So this class right here. So let's go through that. So we have 4 fields. One is the user name, ID, password, and email. And this particular code, if you go back to the function library under Bootstrap, because I'm using Bootstrap, and then we have clear, this is the code that it does. Basically what this code does is clears out all the different error messages that are displaying. And this is the validation process that I was talking about earlier. It says, hey, is this field empty? The username field empty. If it is empty, then show this message. And this is the way that awesome function library lets you display the message, which is fairly easy and very customizable. So I highly encourage you guys to check that out. And then it goes through the other processes of looking at the user ID. Is that empty? If it is empty, it's going to ask it, hey, enter the user ID. If the password is empty, enter the password. If the email is empty, enter the email. And then if the email ID is not in the format that the email is formatted, it's going to say, hey, invalid email, as you saw earlier. And then after it goes to all the validations, then it comes down here and it says, hey, then it puts it in the format, an object format, where it says, hey, this is the call type, and you will learn soon later on what this call type thing is. Let's just, if you don't know right now, just go with it. And then it's going to take the user name, ID, password, and email, and all those values is going to attach to it. So on the left hand side is the variable, on the right hand side is the value. And then rather than me using an AJAX, I'm kind of cheating. I'm just using a post variable, which is part of the jQuery, and then I'm sending the post information to this, and then this is the form which you saw up here, the data that is passing it to, or variables. And then after it goes to the process, well, let me stop right here. I guess I should just go in there and then explain what happens when it gets to this point. So at the very top, it includes the config file. So let me show you what that does. So if we go back to our initial folder, open up the config include folder, and then we have these 3 files. And in this tutorial, we will be using the DB class rather than a function. And I did a whole tutorial on each one of these functionality, so to speak, to connect to the database. So if you need to know more about that, please go check out that video. But I'm not gonna go into it right now. So let's open this file, which is included in my AJAX. So if I go in here, it has a few things. It's already including the DB class up top, and then it has a from name, which is code with mark, obviously, and then email is the info at code with mark. Just so you know, this email is not valid. If you try to send me an email there, it's not gonna work. It's just gonna come back as doesn't exist because I just made this up. So don't try to send me an email there. And then also it has the download page. And then this part of the code is just getting the regular URL, the site URL, and that's that. And this particular line of code initiates the database connection. So all I need to do is just add this variable and connect to the database. And we're good there. So I'm gonna close this out. And then, so we have just covered this line of code here. So the next part is the call type. Remember I said the call type in here is sign up? I'm just using that a variable, so to speak, to make my call to different ones. So first thing what it does is checks to see, hey, is this call type variable set as a post variable? If it is, good. The next check, what it does, what is the type equal to? In this case, is sign up. If these two condition meets, then I'm going to run the rest of the code. So in this case, it goes and gets the user ID, username first, ID, password, and email. And each one of these functions or variables are ran through clean DB data. If you don't know what that is, please go check out the database class functionality or function DB video. I went into great detail as to how important it is, but just to give you a recap, what this particular function class does or function does is that it just runs through the process of preventing your code or your database to be SQL injection, prevent from SQL injections, and that's the whole point of it. And every time I insert anything or have any kind of a user entry that I'm getting it in my PHP, I always run the user entry through this data, this DB clean function just to make sure that I'm not getting anything corrupted or somebody trying to get me bad data or trying to get to my database to extract information via the SQL injection. So always do that. So enough with that. So the next part is the select class, where it goes to see it's going to go to the user table. Okay, let's go look at our MySQL table in here. So in here, this is our table. Let me clean this up. Well, actually, no, I'm gonna leave it there because that's what I inserted in there. So if I go in here, I have updated the table to have a few more columns. So we have, this is the table, is called user, and then within the user table, we have record ID, username, user ID, password, email, user status. This indicates if the person has clicked the email to activate their account, or if their user status is password reset and all that stuff. So basically how it works is, initially when you sign up for the account, the status will be pending because you haven't clicked on the email to say, hey, this is who I am, and then blah. And after you clicked on the email like you saw earlier, then the status is going to change from pending to active. And then after that, let's say, for example, if your user wants to reset the password to, because they can't remember what the password they originally used or whatever the case might be, and then they go to the password reset screen, and then they're going to get the email saying, hey, I have resetted my password. And then in this case, the user status will be reset until they click on the email, then it becomes active again. So we have active, pending, and reset. And then we have our code. That's just the code that gets emailed to the person. And that's that. And then last but not least, the record ID, record time and date. That's just what I put it in there, just that way I know what time it was. And the record got inserted. So in this case, let me see. And this is what the data will look like. So in this case, it was inserted 1 o'clock in the morning or whatever. So we have user record ID, username, password, email, so on and so forth. All right, enough with that. Let's move back. All right, so this is what's happening here. So this is going to say, hey, is the user ID equal whatever is in the database? Is the email address equal whatever the person puts it in? And then I check to see check record ID, which means the user email. If it's not, if the email already exists in the database, it's going to throw an error message saying, hey, ID already exists, as you saw earlier. And then same thing will happen for the email. If this email ID exists, it's going to say there's going to be a record of it. Just to show you what I mean, rather than me just saying, I always believe showing is a lot better than just saying. So if I go back in here and I can put blah, 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 whatever, and then I know I already added an account called Mark1 for user ID and password. So if I go in here and type 1, and then blah, 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 whatever, and then 1@gmail.com, and then if I hit enter now, it's supposed to give me 2 error messages. First is the user ID. Second is the email. So let's try this. It's going to say, oh crap, this email ID is, this user ID is already taken. So put another one. So I'll just add another one. So next one, what it's going to do is it's going to say, hey, the email is already used. Use another one. So voila. So this is what I mean by going to the validation process here. All right, so after all those checks have been made, the next thing what it is, hey, record ID is less than 1, which means there are no rows whatsoever. This is a brand new user for both ID and email. Then what it's going to do is, if you haven't watched or saw my blog post about the hashing the password, I highly encourage you to go check it out. It's on codewithmark.com. So if you just go to it here, and then you'll see it's called best option for hashing your passwords in PHP. In case if you're watching in the future and this particular post is not on the homepage, you can just type in under the search box and just type in, let's say, password or something. I just hit enter or hit this, and then it will come up. So you can search for it and so on and so forth. But any other hints that you wanna, far as programming, web development, web application goes, definitely go check out codewithmark.com. And let's go back to our tutorial. So the whole point of hashing the password is that you never want to store your password as person entered in case your system for some reason gets hacked or something like that. You will be in so much trouble because people can use your user IDs, personal information, if you have credit card stored, so on and so forth, just to give you an idea of how many different possibilities things can go wrong. Just like you don't want to have your password or your information taken. You don't want your users to have their password or personal information taken. Enough said, let's move on. So the next thing is just a generic code. What it basically does is it takes the user ID, email, and random code between 1 and 25, and then whatever the current time is, a uni ID. It just takes a whole bunch of different things and corrects this 512, I want to say, characters long length of code. Some people use it as an API code, some people just use it as a whatever. So this is what this does, and after it's done, it's going to go and insert it into the table, which will take these fields, which will be user ID, name, password, email, code, and status. So being that this is the first sign up, it's going to have the status of pending, as we have talked about it before, and then it's just going to go and insert it. And this is the email part that I was talking about earlier, which I disabled. If you want to enable it for your own use when you guys download this and run it through your own web server or whatever, all you basically have to do is just uncomment this. This is all ready for you, and that's all you have to do, just uncomment it, and that's that. And then after it goes through the process of it, then it's gonna, this is the output that is gonna say, hey, the message is successful. And then this is the thing that you saw at the top where it says, hey, email has been sent to you, and this is the URL. So this is what it happens behind the scenes. So let's see what happens after this code where we picked it up. So then where it says data is coming from all of this code. So it's going to have 4 different objects. It's going to have the status object, message object, and URL object. All right, so first thing what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, hey, make this into a JSON array object in jQuery. And then it's going to convert it into that. Then it's going to take the status, and then I'm checking to see if the status equal error. So if you go back now, as you will see here where the status is, it says, hey, this is error. There are 2 kinds of error messages. We have an error code, which is user ID, which means it's already taken, and same thing for email. And then this is where I say, hey, if the status is error, then check to see what the error code is. Is it user ID? Yes. Then I'm going to show them error message as you saw previously. Same thing for email. If it's success, then I'm going to send them a, let me scroll to the right a little. I'm going to send them a message saying that, hey, your email has been sent to you, and this is what happens. It hides the whole form, then it shows the message to the person, hey, check your email. And that's all there is to it, guys. Hopefully that was helpful to you. In the next video, we will be, sorry about that, I just fumbled on my words. We all do that once in a while. So just so you know, I'm real. I'm not one of those professional people who always say the right things at the right time. I'm a real person just like you. And in any case, I'm gonna finish it now. It's close to being a half an hour. This is probably one of the longest videos that I created for this particular series. But in any case, in the next video, we'll be going over how to log in and part of that code. So I'll see you guys in the next video.